Hey guys, you got Chris and Sean with Talking Through the Medias. I know that Chris has done one before, but I'm going to be in this one. We're going to be doing our post Batman versus Superman comments. This was such a big, huge movie that we kind of talked and we are like, we need a day or two to kind of absorb what just happened. It's almost like when you're witness to like a big traumatic event or whatever, and you're just like, I don't even know what just happened. You get a little bit of retrospect.
Comic book movie shell shock.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was so much. Okay, so I guess Chris, you've already kind of given your semi opinion.
Yeah, in my I called it like a mini review. What I did was I spoke about a few things that I'm glad that you suggested that we take a day, because my review would have been totally different. I probably would have joined the bandwagon of the people saying that it sucked, but having taken a day, and then learning what I learned about a few of the scenes that we saw. And by the way, it's just like the last one. This is going to be spoiler filled, so you've been warned. If you haven't seen the movie by now, like you stop and come back to it later. In 3, 2. I'm serious. We're going to hit you with a lot of spoilers. 1. This is it now. Like, for example, what I covered was the dream sequences that Batman kept going through with seeing Flash. I didn't even know that was Flash at first, that he was seeing that one dream sequence that was warning him like, no, and don't do it, and all that stuff. So, and the stuff with I forgot everything that I talked about now. So mostly it was about the dream sequences and Lex Luthor and other people's performances and whatnot. So I covered all of that stuff, and I didn't go. I was going to talk a little bit about Superman, but I stopped myself there because I knew me and you were going to talk today. So I talked about Batman a lot. I talked about some of the things that, if you don't know anything about the comic books, or if if you don't know a little bit about history, you're going to probably look at it like it was too much jam-packed and jammed into 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it just would have confused you. But once you see the bigger picture, if you understand what I think the bigger picture is, then the movie was brilliant to me. So I don't know if you haven't seen the video yet, Sean, check it out. But if I'll go back and cover. It'll all start coming back to me, and we can, as we go through this, we'll probably cover back over what I talked about earlier. But so I guess I'm gonna go into it with you on the major question. What did you think? What was your initial reaction, and then how do you feel about it now that you've had a day to absorb it?
Man, there was so much hype for me going into this movie. We've been talking about it and thinking about it, and even before the actual conception of this movie came about, and we knew it was going to be a reality, I'd always kind of, as a kid, and I think everybody who likes these superhero movies has dreamed of the day that maybe Batman would fight Superman. So I think there was a really high benchmark to try and hit. Do I think that it hit the mark?
I was making sure my sound was working right. You can hear me right now, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
All right. I was saying that this was such a big lead up to this movie. I mean, everybody has. Do I think that it hit all the marks where it should have? I don't think it did. I'm not going to
really like what mark? You gotta tell me about that.
Like, I wish that they'd kind of given the villain a little bit more to work with. Like, he just didn't have a whole lot of screen time, and I actually thought that he did a decent job.
Oh, you mean Lex?
Yeah. I think they should have given him a little bit more fun. Let him have a little fun with it, because at the end he's just like, ha ha ha, and he's just sitting there laughing. You're like, oh man, why didn't they give him some more screen time?
Yeah, he was very subtle.
Yeah,
the whole movie. I mean, you can tell he was masterminding a lot of stuff, and then it all started, coming together. It was obvious it was him, but you're right.
It's almost like he started only blossoming towards the end, and he's just like, he's just like sitting there banging on the bars and stuff, and you're like, why couldn't he have just gone let loose? And I mean, you saw a little glimpse of it through little glimpses of it through the movie, but then it's not to the very end, and they shave his melon back, and you're like, there's the Lex.
I felt like I saw that he was actually Lex Luthor whenever he was by himself or around someone who he was not afraid to reveal his true self to. Like when he was in front of the, in his parties and whatnot, he's like, the car.
He had some
like that's what he had to
language,
do.
man.
But I liked the way he acted or portrayed Lex Luthor when the mask came off and he was for example, and I talked about this on the last video, that part where he talked about God. And you remember that line where he said, he talked about how if God really loves us, he's all powerful, that he lets bad things happen to good people.
Good.
Yeah, if
he's completely good, he can't be all powerful.
Exactly. You either have to be all powerful or all good. In his mind, you can't be both, because if you're a God who loves us and won't let it, then when we say, please God, don't let me die, then we die anyway, then you can't be all good. And if it messed my head up. And the way, how did he deliver it? It was like, if you're all good, you can't be all powerful.
Right.
And if you're all powerful, you can't be all good. And I was like, what? Well, that was Lex Luthor. So I like the way he delivered some of his lines. But I see what you're saying though on the other things.
I just wish they'd given a little bit more meat to work with. I mean, and I'm not going to say that they won't on the sequel, because I think he did a good job. I hope they give him a second shot because he's kind of developed himself a little bit now, and so let's give him a little bit more screen time in the next one. Let him go at it, have at it. I think, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought this was a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I think it had, for me, it had the best fight scenes of the Batman. Like in my brain, I'm just thinking somebody in the audience is screaming John Cena as Batman's coming down and throwing elbows down and body slamming people. And
he straight up rock bottom one dude.
Man, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Batman actually killed people in this movie.
Yeah. That was another thing about the dream sequences that I saw in real life, and like with me and you, as we were leaving the theater and we talked about it, I tried to give Batman a little justification. Like if it was 1-on-1 and he could take you down, that's fine. He didn't have to kill you. But if you're in like a tank with a turret or something, you're shooting at his plane and whatnot. It's like, oh no, you don't. You're not gonna shoot up my car. You're not gonna shoot my plane.
So guys, just in case, Batman has gone full gangster in this movie.
If you had a problem with Superman killing Zod, don't watch this movie.
I don't even know what the body count for Batman in this movie is. I think he probably killed 6 or 10 people in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and people will say, "Oh, he was firing non-lethal rounds." Man, the cars exploded.
Yeah,
with the people inside.
He dropped a couple bat moves.
The Mortal Kombat moves. Mm-hmm. Some of those were lethal. I mean, I don't care. And I really,
Dr. Fishy.
Yeah, like Dr. Fishy. No, like I'm gonna be honest with you. And people will love it or hate it. I actually thought that Ben Affleck did just a fine job as Batman. I think that his choreography scenes with the fights were, God forbid, I know people are going to crucify me for this. You're right. The fight scenes were much better choreographed in this than they were in the Nolan series.
I'm sure even Nolan would admit that.
Not to take away from the Bane fight in the sewer, I think it was badass. And I think I found that Bane was a more interesting villain than Doomsday. However, I cannot talk down the epicness of that battle at the end, nor can I down talk the badassness that Wonder Woman was. Wonder Woman just like I heard she was good, but then when you see her come in and she's doing this, and Batman's like, oh shit, and she jumps in front of him and hits, and you see that big blast wave come out, and she's just standing there like this. It's like, oh shit, Wonder Woman is a gangster. She's honestly, she was besides the spearing, she was the one that kicked Doomsday's ass.
Yeah.
Like Batman and Superman were just getting thrown around and bitch slapped by Doomsday.
She handled him for a good 10 minutes until the final blow was given by Superman.
Yeah.
Like she did all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, she wrapped him up, chopped his arm off. Man, she was piecing Doomsday
No,
up.
I'll tell you the moment I knew that the Wonder Woman movie is going to be epic was when she slid under Doomsday, like chopped his leg. I think he cut it, like you said, chopped the arm off, and then she started laughing because she was enjoying the battle.
Yeah. She lassoed his ass and pulled him in. It was like, do it, do it, man. But I'll tell you this, Chris. I did not see Superman dying at the end of this. I know from a comic book standpoint and a mythos standpoint, this is the big thing in the Superman world, I guess, when Doomsday kills Superman.
Doomsday, having Doomsday was one thing, but covering that comic book, that epic event that happened to death
of Superman
was ballsy. I did not see that coming. I didn't think they would have the balls to go that far.
I was like, inside, the little boy inside me was like, no! When
it's 1993 all over again.
And he's like, and I thought that for sure it didn't sink in until after the funeral, and he was in the casket and all that, and then they lowered the ground. I was like, oh my God.
What did you expect? You expect Martha to like touch her son, and then Clark give a little,
him to like heal, or I don't know,
give a little wink like this, be like, and then just go back.
But like when I saw the casket, I was like, oh shit, Superman really is dead. But then you see that dude, Superman had a gangster ass coffin, man. Nobody can deny it. That was a badass. That was like Bentley.
I'm telling you, that was the same coffin that was in the comic book. If you go look at that issue again, it's online. They covered it pretty well.
That was a beautiful coffin.
I like the fact that Superman had this big Princess Diana like event, and then Clark was being horse buggy.
Yeah, he had a big memorial, the big Superman memorial on the ground, and they didn't bury him in a Superman suit.
Well, they didn't have a body. They didn't have a body. So
who?
The Metropolis. They did a ceremony kind of a thing.
No, but I mean, in his casket, he was actually buried in a suit, not a Superman.
Yeah, Clark. Yeah, his mom buried Clark, but the city buried the thought of Superman and the idea of Superman, or the idea of Superman. I mean, they didn't have a body to bury. But and you know what? That to me, that feels like that should have warranted a lot of questions. I mean, it's like people who knew that the coffin was empty. Why wouldn't they be like, where the hell? We saw him fight. We saw him die. Where the hell is the body? We can't burn it. Where's the body go?
I thought he was in the chrome casket though.
No, remember, he was in Kansas. His mother buried him. That was two separate funerals.
But how come the dirt comes rising off the pimp ass casket at the end? Or was that the one? That was
the wooden one.
Oh, that's right, because
because his mom threw. I almost said his mama threw the dirt on him.
His mama threw the dirt,
and that's what it rose from. No, and Batman even he acknowledged it. He said that they're burying an empty casket for symbolic reasons. They're burying the Earth hero or whatnot. But we skipped all the way to the end. So when you were, I'm gonna ask you this because this is one other thing I covered. When you were watching the movie, when Batman was having all these dreams, I told you after the movie, those dreams didn't sit well with me. At first I was thinking, okay, he was gonna have like one dream, and it was just his fear, like his hate for Superman. And he was just having a what if nightmare scenario about Superman and what he could unleash to the world. And then when I saw the trailers, that it was kind of like those flying demons that come from Planet Apocalypse, from the big boss man Doomsday. And I just felt like maybe he was just imagining the worst case scenario. But little by little, I started to think, this is getting too specific. Like, why is Batman Batman doesn't know anything about Kryptonians. The events for Man of Steel was only a year and a half ago. He doesn't know anything about Diana. He hasn't bumped into anything supernatural, according to what the movie was telling us. How the hell is he having all these specific dreams? When the dreams started getting really, really detailed, I was thinking, when you were watching it, you didn't have any problems with the dreams at all?
Well, at the time, I was not focused on it. No, I didn't catch it. You were more perceptive of it. I didn't realize that it was literal. I thought it was more figurative.
I thought it was gonna be too, and then after he had the next one and the next one and then the next, I was thinking, what the hell? Batman doesn't know all of this stuff. Why is he having these dreams? So when that final dream, when the guy was warning him, you said you didn't know who that was at first, right?
No, I didn't recognize it.
I thought it was Robin or something like that. I thought that's what it was. I thought maybe he was having a guilt dream about losing Robin, and that's who was yelling at him. And then when I later realized that I was told that it was Flash, it clicked. It made sense. And then when I went back into my memory of it, and I was like, hell yeah, that was, because the mask was completely covered over his head and it had that little pointed nose. At first I thought it was Robin, but then I was like, Robin's suit isn't like that. Robin only has that one little thing over his eyes, and his hair is out.
Which totally confuses people.
Exactly. So when I was like, who that wasn't Robin, and who was it? It was Flash. And then it all made sense. So what I talked about in the last video was Flash has the ability, when he runs fast enough, he can time travel. He can jump through dimensions, and he's doing it on the TV show right now. He's about to meet Supergirl on Monday because he's able to cut through dimensions. People also think that the Flash from the TV show might even meet the Flash from the movie. I don't think DC is going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
No, but it's happened in the comic books. The other Flashes from other worlds, they bumping into each other. It would make sense, but in a comic book way. But they're not going to do it. But the second that hit me, then the movie completely made sense to me. Like I said in the last video, if you didn't know any of this stuff coming in, this stuff was going to confuse you. You were either it was going to be split down the middle. Either you're going to turn your brain off and you're going to just love it for what it was, or you're going to try to turn your brain on. You don't have the comic book background. You don't know who that guy is. You're wondering why Batman's having these stupid dreams, and you're going to be like, this movie sucked because the pacing was all off and whatnot. So, but you were somewhere else though on it. You enjoyed it for what it was, right? You kind of like you just turn your brain off and try not to overthink it like I did.
Well, okay, so like I said, my pre-hype for this movie was so big because I'm such a me and Chris, huge Batman fans.
Huge.
So I went in with the mistake of initially being like, there's no way they'll outdo Christopher Nolan's Batman. There's no way. I shouldn't have gone in there with that mindset, and I realize that now. And as we said, a couple days later, I thought about it, and I'm like, those are nothing alike. And I'm pretty much.
Oh yeah, they were two different guys.
Right, so totally different. And when I forget about Christopher Nolan's Batman, and I sit down there, I just look at this as it is. The movie was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost wish that people would be like, you don't need more. I almost kind of wish they had pushed the 3-hour boundary just to give me.
We're gonna get that in the DVD.
I swear to God, man, it seemed like that movie was only about an hour and 20 minutes to me. Like it just flew by, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, the credits are on. I was like,
yeah,
man,
the way it ended.
2.5 hours.
To me, when it started, it felt like it was dragging. And then when it started picking up, it was too slow.
Yeah, it just ended so fast. I was like, damn. And then that cliffhanger where Superman died, I'm like, oh.
They'd hit you.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's over. Well, they're going to bring him back. There's no way Superman. In my mind,
I'm like, we're heading to the Justice League.
Yeah,
all right, so here's another thing. So this is another thing I talked about. I want to get your thoughts on it. How did you feel about how they semi-introduced the other members of the Justice League?
I thought that the Aquaman scene was a little cheesy.
You like okay? That was the only clip I liked.
Really? Okay. Well, for me, it was like if they had changed like Aquaman's head for Zoolander.
Yeah.
You can see him like, water is the essence of witness. Essence is the something of beauty with this little trident.
You didn't dig the glowing blue eyes that was deep in and then all of a sudden he just comes out with the eyes.
I almost wish they had cut the segment in half. Like he's all like
the stabbing part. Like
we'll just make it faster because he's standing there just like
yeah.
For a second it's like and then he's like okay. It's like just show him for like a split second. You get a good look at him and the kink. And like he kills the camera. It's almost like he was relishing the camera. He's like,
yeah, check it out, world. Jason Momoa.
All right, I'm done. Kink. Just
exactly.
What was the other one? They did 3 of them.
They did Flash, Cyborg,
Cyborg. Yeah, he was up against the circuit board or whatever. And
Okay, here's what I want to talk to you about. The black guy that was building Cyborg. Okay, so if you don't know anything about Cyborg, that was his father. And I think he either works for Star Labs or Wayne Tech.
the
Something.
guy against the board.
The guy, no, not the guy that was Cyborg. That was Cyborg that was hanging up. That was his son.
Okay, what happened to him?
That was like it. Well, in the I don't know much about him, but in the recent Justice League cartoon movie that it's on Netflix now called War. He's a football hero. His father was a scientist. He's got daddy issues. He's trying to yell at his dad. His dad was working on something. He got attacked in the explosion. Body is totally messed up, and his dad used the alien technology to merge with his son and bring him back. And
Cyborg.
So that's obviously what he was doing, because you remember that little box that it was tinkering with, and he started doing some weird stuff, and then it went to fused with his son. So obviously that was Kryptonian or whatever it was. But you recognize that actor, the father, right? You recognize that actor.
Yeah, it's one of those guys. I see him in movies all the time, but I don't know.
Terminator 2, the guy who created the Terminator from that arm, that chip.
Yeah,
remember that actor, that black guy.
Yeah, like I said, I just never remember his name.
I can't remember his name either. So right now he's on that TV show Scandal. But so to me it felt like, okay, the guy from Terminator, he's making another Terminator right now. He's building a cyborg. He's doing it again. They cast the perfect.
I didn't even think about that.
The second I saw his face, I'm like,
I love that he's like, show him, or the kid's like, show him, and he just cuts his arms.
Exactly.
And he just like peels.
I felt like it was the exact same actor. Like, this is how he made the Terminator. Like it was pretty cool.
Now listen to me very carefully. It just shows him flexing it. That scene looks so real when he pulled the skin off in his arm, because it looks like it's connected here.
Exactly. They did a good job on that. But that was the part of the movie I hated. I couldn't stand. I didn't.
The cyborg scene.
Because for different reasons. Because they stole those files from Lex Luthor. So it seems like in this world, in this story, you can't keep a damn secret. Everybody knows everybody's secret identity. Clark knows who Batman is. Batman.
Yeah, they all knew. That was one thing I noticed.
Lex was already aware of. Not only was he already aware of Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg. He even had thumbnails. Even had their little logos on it. Like Lex gave them the little symbol.
They have emojis.
Like, what the hell? Like Lex is the one that creates the. I mean, that was irking me. I'm like, really? Lex knows everything? Like,
well, he's Lex Luthor.
He's the smartest guy in the world, right? But I mean. So
is he supposed to be the smartest guy in the world? Is that
like, if I remember correctly, his intellect is up there. Like for a human being, for a human being, he's up there, like almost a Brainiac level. I mean, he's up there. He's got a level 12 intellect. I don't know if it's supposed to be the 15 or if 12 is the highest. I know he's not the highest level, but it's up there. Like I guess if Batman is at a level 7 and Lex is technically. I've heard technically Lex is smarter than Batman. Really? Technically, as far as being a scientist, a doctor, and all of those things, like the checklist. Yeah, technically Lex is smarter. And as far as inventing stuff and all that, yeah, like he's up there with like Iron Man, if not smarter. I think he's smarter than Iron Man.
He's an evil Tony Stark.
He's a very evil Tony Stark. But I don't know, man. That irked me, and I felt like. Because he already saw Flash, I feel like that little dream sequence was enough. We didn't need to see the homeless one in the convenience store scene. And it was all forced. It was like click, clip, click, clip, click.
Well, they wanted to give you like a little. I guess the point was to just give you a little background. Oh, the dawn of the Justice League.
That was it. I mean, but you know what? They gave us Batman v Superman through like 2 hours and 25 minutes of Batman v Superman and only like 5 minutes of the Dawn of Justice. So I guess that was all right. I don't know.
Now, a question for me is, and will the negative reviews have a significant impact on the numbers?
I'm still sticking with my prediction. After seeing it, at first I was on the board with thinking it was going to make 200 mil this weekend. I'm thinking below 200. But above 150. That's my final answer.
Wouldn't that be awesome if they ended up pulling in $300 million over the opening weekend?
Impossible.
Don't rule it out. It's Batman and Superman.
It is Batman and Superman, but that would you know what? If even if it had a 99% approval rating and everybody loved it, it was a perfect movie. The one thing that would keep it from hitting 300. Ooh, wait a second. There's two things. There's one thing that's in your favor, and there's one thing that's against you. The movie was released worldwide, like in it was
almost
released
simultaneously.
In China. Yeah. Exactly. China got it the same time we got it, so those numbers are all coming in the same weekend. So that works in the favor of it for over 2, possibly 3. What works against it is how long the movie is. 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's a long time. It takes away time from repeat showing. So that's the only thing that will work against it.
I think that they're going to be not using as many screens for other movies and pushing for using 4 or 5 screens to push Batman and Superman. I think that this has a better shot, regardless of the reviews, a better shot at getting over $200 million than any movie I've seen.
Has any movie ever done that?
$300 million domestically in the opening weekend? I don't think so.
It's never been done.
No.
Like the most, I think Avengers and whatnot, the most that they did was what, 150, almost 190 or 180, something like that. The movie that should have done it would have been Star Wars or this. And I think the bad word of mouth is what's going to get it, and how long it is. I think that's unfortunately.
I think we're going to be at or slightly above $200 million. We'll see.
We're gonna. I hope so. I'm rooting for it because, like I said yesterday, I would have been like, I kind of didn't like it. Now that I understand those dream sequences, and I know that, and this, let me tell you something else that I said that I'm going to see if you agree with me on. Now that you understand what the dream sequences really meant, those were messages from the future or from another whatever. He was trying to go back and tell Batman like don't do it. So obviously Flash is going to be the movie that's going to really explain that and whatnot. So when they finally piece the puzzle together, I think we only got like a big piece, but I think it was a piece of a huge puzzle. It was a big piece, but I think it was still a bigger puzzle. So when the Flash movie comes out, when the Wonder movie comes out, and all those things are explained, those dreams and why and those little messages and whatnot, when all these movies come out and we get a Justice League movie, and then everything is explained, do you think people who are hating on it today, when they get the explanation, if they don't understand that was Flash and all that stuff, when they get all that stuff explained in the future, they're going to go back and say, oh, now that I understand that, now that movie was awesome. You think that might happen? Yeah,
because like if this universe blows up and they get a lot of fans for different titles that come out after this, of course people are going to go back. Oh yeah, I love the first one. That's how it always works. Jump on the bandwagon.
On the bandwagon. Now that
but if they cancel the plans, which they're not going to, people are going to be like,
because we already have Suicide Squad coming out.
Yeah,
and that could re-spark everything.
I don't think Suicide Squad is going to do bad at all. I think it's probably going to get okay to good reviews. I don't think they're going to trash.
What if Suicide Squad makes more money than Batman versus Superman? Would you be upset?
No, I'd be happy. I'd be happy if either of them make money. But honestly, the one thing that Suicide Squad, we get to see the Joker. That's why people are going to go
Batman
see
again, and you get to
see the Joker, right? In the same movie.
I honestly felt like this was a Batman movie. I don't feel like this was a joint kind of I feel like the reason why they call it Batman v Super, I feel like we got Man of Steel, and we got Batman. He just happened to be pissed at Superman, and that's why we got a heavy Superman in there. I feel like this was a Batman movie.
Well, did you hear that Zack Snyder was originally just going to shoot a Man of Steel sequel, and then one of the guys
then it morphed into.
Well, why don't we put Batman in it? They're like, why? Well, what do you mean why? Batman is
that's awesome,
huge, So
I feel like this movie is going to be underappreciated today, and then when Suicide Squad comes out, then Batman versus Superman's rating is going to go back up. And then when Justice League comes out, I think every DC movie that comes out from this point on is going to make Batman versus Superman that much better, because people are going to see it and then get a bigger picture and like, oh, that's what Zack was trying to say in that movie. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately this is people are just going by word of mouth as far as what their critical opinion is. This movie is going to be trash talked for a long time, and I don't agree with it. That's just my opinion. I thought it was.
To be fair, I mean, it was a lot of information jammed in. Even if it was 3 hours long, it was a lot to absorb.
Well,
if you
like
were just trying to watch Superman and Batman fight, you still had to get all this other stuff, the future stuff and the apocalypse stuff, and trying to jam it in there and get it.
I talked to a couple people today, probably 10, 12 people, and every single one I asked, "Hey, are you going to go see Batman and Superman?" They all made this little, yeah,
Really?
yeah, like this cranked up look in their face, and we're like, I don't know.
That's okay, man. You don't need those friends. I'm here.
Walk-ups at the workplace. I'll say that. And they did that same. I don't know. I've heard bad stuff, and I told them, I was like, I went and saw it. I thought it was great. You know, don't read the reviews. Go see it and make up your own opinion about it. Don't just think it. You know,
oh, whatever bullshit.
Yeah. No, really. It's like some of them were legitimately like, no. And the biggest complaint I heard was, "Oh, I don't like Ben Affleck. I'm not gonna go see Ben Affleck as Batman." I'm like, honestly,
and he was he was the best part. Him, Wonder Woman were the best things in the movie.
Yeah, he did a great job, man.
But no disrespect to Henry Cavill, but they stole.
You're focusing on Wonder Woman and Batman. That's all.
Because we've already seen Henry Cavill before. We were curious in how those two guys were going to deliver, and I feel like it's a good combination. The way Batman moved. Come on, that opening scene. That was like a horror movie, man. When we first saw Batman in action.
In the corner.
That was a horror movie.
And he went right up through the roof, and the dude almost blasted his friends like, "Hey!
Yo, shut my face." What would have been even funnier for that scene? Imagine me and you would have been those cops. The other guy that he almost killed should have been an old black guy, like I'm getting too old for this shit kind of a guy. Like
2 days to return.
That's what that scene.
He's eating a donut, walking up the stairs. God damn, 2 days to retirement. God damn.
Exactly. That would have made that scene, because they did that in a way in the Christopher Nolan's movies. Like when he shot at Batman and Batman looks back at him, he's all like, and it's part of like, "Step back, son." You don't know what you're doing. So they kind of did that in Nolan. So
he's like, sorry.
Sorry. So I'm sorry, Batman. He's new. He's a rookie. That's guy. So I'm sorry. I'll write him up for this. But I felt like it was. I'm glad that I was told, or I went back and I saw some videos that explained what I was seeing. Because the only thing that was throwing me off was how they quickly snippet the rest of the team in. That was almost for no reason. And how those dream sequences were irking me because they were too specific. And now that I know that they weren't really dreams, that was fed information right there. So, and I hope I'm right about that. I'm like 97% sure that that's exactly what the message was. That was a message from the future, and from Flash. So if that's the direction that they're going, that means we're about to see something very, very, very big, and
gonna be huge.
I feel like the people that are hating on it now, when the Flash movie, it's gonna be the Flash movie that's gonna explain everything and bridge that gap. Because when they finally explain that was Flash sending those messages to Bruce, then I think people are gonna forgive a good chunk of a reason why they hated on the movie and whatnot. Now, a lot of people are saying that it was the pacing of it, the way it was edited, like it was slow. The slow parts it went from very, very slow to violently fast, and like the editing was bad and whatnot. I can agree. I can see what they're talking about, but I feel like they're just being over sensitive. They're still comparing it to Christopher Reeves. They're still hating on Man of Steel. I feel like they're just butthurt and they're just bringing it to this movie. I feel like DC has been dealt a sucky hand, and it's going to take a while for them to earn.
With the exception of Nolan's,
everything Nolan touches
is hallowed ground.
Exactly. It's like, why can't you all be like Nolan? Why can't? It's like they're not going to fire Ben Affleck, an Oscar-winning writer and your director, and get Bale to come back. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know, man. I might get my ass kicked for saying this, but I'm sorry. In comparison, Ben Affleck's Batman, from what we just saw, would kick the shit out of Bale's Batman. I'm sorry. Bale's Batman would get his ass stomped.
I've got a photo for you guys of Chris after he got a good look at Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, we're gonna share that. Wait, hold on. Let me get you on screen. Hold on. Wait. There it is.
This is Chris's expression after seeing Wonder Woman. Yeah, look, notice the eyes. Yeah, look at he's like, yeah.
but that sword though.
We be creeping. Yeah.
She was awesome. Yeah. I was totally just looking at the shield. I wasn't looking at anything.
It was the shield, just the shield. Yeah.
It was the shield.
The chest shields.
Oh yeah. The double mint twins.
And I'm really
Al and Gadot.
Because I'd heard, and last thing for me, I'd heard that she was really good, but honestly, when I saw Wonder Woman come out, I was like, damn, she's more of a gangster than Batman and Superman. I'd like to see her fight Batman. I don't think holy crap, she would have kicked the shit out of Batman.
When Bruce Wayne went back to get his little device when he was trying to do that little espionage from Lex Luthor, and he got by Wonder Woman. I'm thinking, like, what the fuck kind of Batman is this?
He walked up, he's like, what the hell? He looks back,
and she's all like, where this bitch at? It felt like Ben Affleck was going to move through the people like, hey, bitch, what the fuck? Yeah. I thought it was about to go down right there at the party.
Like, I'm old enough to be your great grandmother. He was like,
and
yeah,
they still look pretty good.
Yeah, he's still hot.
For all we know, like a year to her is like a day. Like,
right? She's Kryptonian.
They haven't explained that yet. The working theory is that that ship that Clark found on Man of Steel 1, that thing crashed a long time ago during the Ice Age or whatever, like the dawn of man, right? And the only survivor of that crash was Kara, which is technically Superman's cousin, in the comic book. So there's a comic book that came out before Man of Steel. They showed her, she had a mission, she was doing a little exploration, like a Star Trek thing, that they got hit, they crashed on Earth, everybody dies except the captain, which was her. I didn't see the comic book, but I was explained that when at the end of the comic book, she opens the ship up and she just walks out, and that's it. That's exactly how it ends. They don't explain what happened to her. They don't explain anything.
And that's supposed to be Wonder Woman.
And that, no,
that
people are thinking that she probably bred with a bunch of humans and probably started the lineage of the Wonder Woman tribe. That's a theory that's going out.
So you don't think Wonder Woman is ancient?
I don't know. Well, yeah, what she is, but I'm thinking that she has Kryptonian DNA from birth. I'm thinking that Kryptonian that crash landed on Earth like 20,000 years ago, whatever, however many 50,000 whatever years ago, they that girl had kids with and started a race of Wonder Woman women. Those, because all of those Amazons are strong like Wonder Woman, and the whole tribe is. But again, that's just the theory that's going on. Because you remember on Man of Steel when Clark went to the ship for the first time and he was looking around. You remember that?
I don't really remember details from it, but I do remember him finding something.
If you look at that scene again, he sees these dead bodies. The crew of that ship, they're dead, but there was one capsule that was empty and I think it was kind of open, and they explained that in the comic book. She opened the capsule, she walks out, and that's it. No one knows what happens to her. And I'm thinking she just started a whole family, and that's why we have these superpowered people on Earth.
Nugent. Oh, she's the original.
She's the original. But we might not get that explanation, but who knows? Who knows?
Well, we shall see. Well, that's my 2 cents.
What's your overall rating of it? Out of how many stars you give it? 1 out of 5 or 1 to 10? What's your rating? What do you give it?
I'd give it a 3 out of 4. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, a 3 out of 4 stars. It's not a perfect movie for me, but it was damn enjoyable, and I would go see it again.
I'm at a think I'm at a 7 now. I think for some
7
reason
out of 10.
it keeps fluctuating up. Yeah.
Well,
From
7 out of
like
10 is the same
7,
as
yeah,
3 out of 4.
yeah, 6 to 7. Yeah, 3 out of 4, 3 out
So
of
3
5.
out of 4 stars. I think we're pretty close. 3 out of 4 stars for me.
And I think the on Rotten Tomatoes the fans have given it like 74%. I think that's fair. For a fan, if you went over there and you turned your brain off, and you just want to see Batman and Superman, I think that's fair. And yeah, I think those critics just got their head up their asses, man. I don't know what's going on, but who knows? They wanted an Oscar-worthy performance from Ben Affleck or something. I don't know.
Well, oh God, yeah, they need to get out of that mindset. So
we got a great Wonder Woman, we got a great Superman, we got a great Batman. What the hell else do these people want?
They want another great villain.
They want a great villain. I was surprised that they did Doomsday, but come on, they explained it pretty well. Come on, man, that scene where when Lex Luthor was cutting his hand and he was
I knew. I was like, oh shit,
this is it.
Lex's DNA mixed with the super body of Zod. I knew when they showed Zod's body in the trailer, I was like, oh shit, they're going to use him to make Doomsday.
Last point.
The computer argued with him.
And he talked the computer down. He's illegal on Krypton. Well, where's Krypton?
Point taken.
Okay. I guess I can't allow you to do this now, Lex. I mean, I'm thinking like, okay, what are the ships that we have 30% power, but we have the knowledge of over 100,000 different worlds?
Yeah,
he says, "Tell me everything." Right?
Tell me everything.
I'm thinking. Here's my other theory. My last theory. I talked about Flash. I talked about what I've liked about things. I think that we did not see everything that Lex did in that computer. He backed it. He backed all of that stuff of that everything that computer could teach him. I think he backed up those files,
probably
in his personal computers, in his Apple Mini, whatever, and
he put it on his iPad.
I'm thinking whatever he did to that computer and whatnot. I think that's what he was rambling about in that jail when he was talking to Batman. I don't think at first I was thinking he was talking about
the bell's already been rung. We can't undo it.
We can't undo it. The way he was talking, he wasn't to me. It wasn't. At first I was thinking, okay, he's talking like a guy who ran into Doomsday, and then not Doomsday, Darkseid, and because of the images that Batman was getting and all this stuff. We're getting Darkseid, which is the DC version of Thanos from Marvel. Oh, actually, Thanos was a ripoff of Darkseid. Darkseid came first, and then Marvel ripped him off and created Thanos. But then the way Lex was talking, he said, "I rung the bell, and it can't be unrung." To me, that wasn't him saying that this bigger god did something, and we got a plan for. No, I felt like Lex did something. Like he tried to set up Batman and get Batman to fight against Superman, and the plan didn't work out. So plan B was Doomsday. That plan didn't work out. So he had a plan C. And I think plan C is going to come in the Man of Steel 2 or in the next whatever Justice League movie. I think Lex did something in that ship, and he created Brainiac. That ship that he was talking to, I think he did something to it, made it more self-aware, and now Brainiac, with a little bit of Lex code into it, has now been activated, like an Ultron kind of a thing. I think
maybe.
I think that's what he meant when he said the bell was wrong and it can't be unrung. I'm thinking he's talking about Brainiac, because the ship already said we have the knowledge of hundreds of thousands of worlds, and that's what Brainiac does. He collects things.
Is that the biggest villain in their universe?
Darkseid. Darkseid would be.
Well, besides him. Brainiac?
I think Brainiac would be very close, because he's a Kryptonian supercomputer. He's kind of like Ultron, but Brainiac's programming is to collect knowledge from a planet, absorb everything there is to learn about that planet, then destroy that planet.
I think you're right then. I think that sounds like something they're probably going to end up using.
To me, that's what it feels like. I feel like that's what Lex was yapping about, but we'll see. Hopefully, because what else? You've already started off with Doomsday. What bigger villain could you do? Well,
I think you're right. So we'll see.
We'll see. Well, that's all I got, guys. I liked it. So 7 out of 10, 4 out of 3 out of.
So I'm the same thing. 3 out of 4, 7 out of 10, same thing. Yeah, we're on the same side here.
All right, outstanding. So I'm gonna do one more of these. Hopefully I'm gonna have a special guest from a viewer that also loves these movies. I haven't haven't put that in concrete yet, but if I get that going, hopefully I can get you involved with that. But so I'm not going to promise anything yet. Want it to be a big surprise, but
For me?
No, not for you. Nobody cares. But I'm going to remind you guys again. Hey guys, we're getting closer to the first set of tickets that are going to be given away.
Yes.
Hit the subscribe button. Share. Tell your friends. Send us comments. Let us know why you think that Batman vs Superman was the greatest movie of all time. Because if you have any other opinion, you're not gonna. We don't. No, I'm just joking. But we're giving away free tickets to see. What's the movie we're giving away again? I keep forgetting.
Batman vs Superman, Captain America: Civil War, and damn it, I don't remember.
Well, it's gonna be all the blockbusters from this point. Every time we hit another
100 subscribers,
we activate the contest, and we're giving away free movie tickets. So this time it's Captain America. So we get there before the Captain America movie drops off, and somebody's going to get some free tickets. So keep hitting that subscribe button. Tell your friends, because you might get free tickets on Sean.
Sure.
But as always, guys, I appreciate you guys for listening to us ramble on. We're going to send more out to you. Thanks for the comments. Keep them coming, Sean. Sign us out.
Absolutely, guys. Give us some ideas. Shoot us our way. Click subscribe. Keep watching us. If you have any original ideas that you want to see. Oh, and by the way, guys, we're going to be starting up a secondary channel where we're going to, and I'm not going to go into details because I'm going to leave it secret.
Don't go into details yet. No.
But keep an eye out. Chris will put a link into it when we actually do it. And that's as much as I will divulge about that right now. This ultra top secret stuff.
I can smell you.
Yeah. I can smell you. So in the meantime, click subscribe, and in the meantime, keep watching the movies, playing the games, and killing noobs.
And let's keep talking.